Hi, I thought I'd talk today a bit about writer's block because I teach creative writing and I've had a few students recently who've been saying that they have the dreaded writer's block. It's a terrible thing to happen, and like many writers I have quite a short amount of time that I have for my writing, so there's no way I can spend it staring at a blank screen in a panic. So I've got some tips first of all for preventing writer's block happening in the first place, and then also what to do if it happens to you. So how not to have writer's block in the first place. One of the things I do when I'm doing things that don't really require my brain is I think about my writing all the time. So if I'm making a cup of tea, or I'm doing the ironing, or if I'm on a long journey, I'm thinking about where next I'm going with my writing. And that means that I'm less likely when I do sit down to write to be panicking about what's coming next, because I already know in my head. The other thing that really works for me is that I always have two very different projects on the go, so that if one of them doesn't feel like something I want to write on a particular day, usually the other one does, because it's very different. So that's a good tip that works for me. And the third one, which I read somewhere else and is not original to me, is when you are writing, to stop writing in the middle of a sentence so that you know exactly where it's going to go when you sit down again to write. And there's something psychological about typing as soon as you sit down, and you know that it's going to continue to flow, and that's worked for me in the past. Okay, so let's assume you haven't done any of those things and you find yourself with writer's block. How can you get past it? I think the first thing you have to do is ask yourself very honestly, what is stopping you from writing? Have you fallen out of love with your characters? Are they not exciting you anymore? Have you come to a bit of a dead end with them and you don't know what to do with them? This is what I would do. I would think about a scene that you've already written, but write it from the point of view of a completely different character, a minor point of view, and tell it from how they see it instead. You might not end up using that piece, but I guarantee that one, it will get you writing again, and two, it will make you have an extra layer to your work that you didn't expect to be there in the first place. Is it that you've reached a point in the book, a scene or a part of the book that you're reluctant to write for some reason? If it's that, remember that you don't have to write in a linear way. You don't have to write that scene before you can carry on. Choose a scene that really excites you, that you know you're going to put in. It might be that big battle at the end of the story. Write that instead. And you might be surprised at how doing that means that it's easier to go back and work up to it. If it's not your work in progress that's blocking you at all, if in fact you just run out of ideas of what to write, the internet is absolutely full of writing prompts. Now I defy you not to go on the internet and put writing prompts into a search engine and not come up with something that you quite fancy writing about. Or else you might have some creative writing textbooks with exercises in there, and give them a go and just write about anything as long as you're writing. Now some people advise you to do something completely different. They suggest that you, for example, go out for a walk to clear your head. Now I think you should be very careful about that, because actually you're still not writing, and that blank screen is going to be just as scary when you get back to it. So what I would say is, if all else fails, do go out, go somewhere new, but go there to write. Go to a cafe or go to an art gallery or go somewhere where you can sit and write and see what comes out of it. Lots of ideas there. They've all worked for me in the past. Go into one of them with an open mind if you have writer's block, and I hope that one of them will work for you.